Welcome to the State of Michigan Child Development and Care Provider Training Module on how to bill with iBilling. In this training module, we will cover how to bill for care hours for a child who is in care for the entire day, before and after school time, overnight care, and child care fees. Let's get started. First, what is iBilling? iBilling, or Internet billing, is the system you must use as a child care provider to enter times of care provided for children participating in the State of Michigan's Child Development and Care Program. As a provider, you will use iBilling to enter the in and out times of care, as well as any absence hours for a child. Submitting your billing through iBilling is how you receive payment for the care you have provided. Now, let's go through our first example of how to bill using iBilling. First, begin by logging in to iBilling using your 7-digit provider ID number and 6-digit PIN. Then click Submit. You will then be taken to the CDC Provider Billing and Payment Inquiry menu, also referred to as the main menu. From here, you will want to select the pay period you would like to bill for and click on Work on Billing Invoice. A pop-up will display letting you know iBilling is ready for you to enter your time. Click OK to continue. You will then be taken to the CDC Provider Billing Attendance Invoice to enter your billing information for the pay period you selected. Now, let's begin entering our time for Nancy. Nancy began care at 7:01 a.m. on Monday. We know this from looking at our time and attendance records. Let's enter Nancy's in time now. Nancy left our care on Monday at 4:43 p.m. We will enter this as her out time. Once our time is entered for the day, the boxes in iBilling turn green. On Tuesday, Nancy began care at 6:58 a.m. We will enter this as her in time for Tuesday. And she left at 4:46 p.m., which is entered as her out time for Tuesday. Again, the boxes will turn green once our time is entered for the day. We would repeat entering the begin and end times from our time and attendance records for Nancy for all of the days she was in our care during the pay period. Here is what that looks like. You can see iBilling has rounded your hours for you. All you have to do is enter the actual times of care from your time and attendance records. After you have entered your billing for the pay period, scroll down to the bottom of the page to submit your billing. If you have multiple children in your care, make sure you are on the last page in iBilling before submitting. You will first need to certify that you have read and agree to the requirements detailed in the Child Development and Care Handbook. The billing information is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge. You keep permanent and accurate records for 4 years. These are your time and attendance records. The parents of children in your care have unlimited access to their children while with you. And you understand what's involved if there is an overpayment of any kind. Once you have certified your billing, click on Submit to MDE. A pop-up will display in iBilling letting you know your billing has been submitted and your billing invoice is ready to be viewed. Click OK to continue. Your billing invoice will display in a different window or tab depending on your web browser. Here, you can see your billing invoice shows the in and out times you entered in iBilling, whether the times entered were for care or absence hours, the total hours rounded by iBilling for each day of care, the total hours for the pay period, and your billing confirmation number. To exit iBilling, simply click on the Logout Exit button. Now that we've covered how to enter care hours in iBilling, let's go through an example of how to bill for before and after school care. Sally is normally in our care before school Mondays through Thursdays from around 6:15 a.m. until 7:40 a.m. when she goes to school. For this example, our time and attendance records show Sally began care Monday morning at 6:16 a.m. Let's enter that as Sally's in time now. Sally left our care at 7:40 a.m. to go to school. Let's enter that as her out time for Monday morning. Since this care took place in the morning, we want to be sure to select AM from the drop-down for Sally's out time Monday morning. Since Sally returned to our care Monday afternoon when she got out of school, we'll need to add more time in iBilling by clicking the More Time button. It's important to note that if you click on the Less Time button in iBilling, your additional row will disappear. This means that if you've entered any billing on that additional row, it will not be counted and submitted. Now, let's continue with our example of billing before and after school time. Since we've clicked on the More Time button, we can now enter the times for after-school care provided. Sally returned to care at 3:46 p.m. on Monday. Let's enter that as her second in time for the day. Sally's parent picked her up at 4:58 p.m. on Monday. We'll enter that as Sally's second out time for Monday. Here is what before and after school care looks like in iBilling for the first week of the pay period. And here is what it looks like for the entire pay period. We have 2 rows of in and out times entered for each day Sally was in our care. Once you have entered your billing, check the certification box and click on Submit to MDE. Now, let's go over how to bill for overnight care. A child is considered to be in your care overnight if they begin in your care on one day, stay overnight, and leave your care the following day. Let's go through an example of how to bill for overnight care. From our time and attendance records, Jackson began care at 9:39 p.m. Sunday night, so we'll enter that as his in time in iBilling. We want to make sure that we select PM from the drop-down, since he's beginning his care at night. We now need to enter a time of 11:59 p.m. as the out time for Sunday. Even though Jackson is in our care until Monday morning, we have to enter the time the actual day ends. Then we'll carry over to Monday. Now, let's enter the out time, or really, the end of the actual day for Sunday. Once our time is entered, the boxes in iBilling turn green. Now, let's carry our time over to Monday for overnight care. We'll begin by entering 12 o'clock a.m. for the in time for Monday, which is the actual start time of the day. Jackson's parent comes to pick him up at 7 o'clock a.m. Monday morning. This will be his out time, so let's enter that now. Jackson returned to our care Monday night. Let's click on More Time so that we can add a second row to enter billing for the same day. Now, we have the ability to enter 2 sets of in and out times for the days we need. Here, our time and attendance records show Jackson returned to our care at 9:40 p.m. Monday night. Let's enter that time now. Remember, the actual day ends at 11:59 p.m., so we'll enter that as the out time for Monday. And since the day begins at 12 o'clock a.m., we'll enter that in the first row as the in time for Tuesday. Jackson's parent came to pick him up at 7:01 a.m. Tuesday morning. Here's what the billing for the first week of overnight care looks like. Jackson came into our care Sunday night and stayed until his parent picked him up Monday morning. Then, he returned to our care Monday night until he left our care Tuesday morning, and so on. This is what the billing looks like for the entire 2-week pay period. You can see that billing for overnight care means you'll be entering time in iBilling in a wave or up and down pattern. Much like billing for any other type of care, when you're ready to submit your billing, simply check the certification box and click on Submit to MDE to submit your billing. Next, let's go over how to bill for childcare fees. But first, what are childcare fees? Childcare fees are fees such as registration or annual fees that may be billed by a provider. The State of Michigan Child Development and Care Program began paying for child care fees billed with pay period 8/21. Child care fees are available per child per fiscal year. More details can be found in the Child Development and Care Handbook. So, how do you bill for child care fees? In iBilling, you will notice that to the right of each child's information, there is a box labeled Child Care Fees. To bill child care fees, simply enter the amount in whole dollars, like this. Once you have submitted your billing for the pay period, including your child care fees, you will be able to see the child care fees billed on your billing invoice. Please note, if you are a license-exempt, related, or license-exempt, unrelated child care provider, the child care fees box will be grayed out since you are not eligible to bill for child care fees at this time. Now, let's go over some important tips to know when billing with iBilling. The boxes in iBilling will change colors to let you know the status of the information being entered. So, what do the colors mean when billing with iBilling? Click on each color to learn more. The second tip to remember is that you can save billing details in iBilling without having to submit your billing. If you want to save your billing, you can use the Save and Continue button to save the billing information you've entered so far, and to keep entering billing. This may be helpful for when you are billing for multiple children or need a little more time to enter your billing. Or you can save your work and return to the main menu. You can also cancel and return to the main menu. This may be useful for times when you're not ready to enter your billing information for the pay period. With both Save and Return to Menu and Cancel and Return to Menu, you will be taken back to the main menu in iBilling and no billing information will have been submitted. It's also important to know that iBilling will time out after 20 minutes of inactivity, so it's important that you save your work as you go. Now, let's review what we've learned today. You need your 7-digit provider ID number and your 6-digit PIN to log in to iBilling. You select the pay period you want to bill for before you click on Work on Billing Invoice. To bill, simply enter your in and out times of care. To bill for care such as before and after school care or overnight care, you will need to click on the More Time button to add another row to enter time. You can add up to 2 additional rows to enter more billing times for a child. If you click on Less Time, the additional row you added will disappear. If you've entered any billing information, it will not be counted or submitted. The boxes in iBilling will turn colors depending on the status of what you've entered. If the boxes are white, this means no billing information has been entered. If the boxes are blue, this means you haven't completed entering your billing information. If the boxes are red, this means there is an error you need to correct. And if the boxes are green, this means your billing is valid and complete. When working on a billing invoice for a pay period in iBilling, you can save and continue working, save and return to the main menu, or even cancel and return to the main menu if you're not quite ready to bill for that particular pay period. We've also learned that child care fees may be billed by certain child care providers. These fees are available per child per fiscal year. If you need more information on how to bill using iBilling, you can visit the State of Michigan Child Development and Care website at www.michigan.gov/childcare. If you have questions about how to bill and need to speak to someone from the Child Development and Care office, you can call toll-free at 1-866-990-3227 from 8 o'clock a.m. until 5 o'clock p.m. Monday through Friday, except for State of Michigan holidays. Thank you for completing the CDC Provider Training module on how to bill with iBilling.